All right, let's try this again.
All right, here we are.
It's the Dani Cutler Show on KWSS 93.9 FM and streaming at KWSS.org. Those of you listening on 93.9 FM, you're going to hear a portion of my interview with the amazing Brandon Decker. And those of you watching on Zoom right now, you see him. So hello, Mr. Decker.
Hello, Dani. Wonderful to see you.
You too. I was thinking that a wonderful place to isolate and quarantine is Sedona.
You know, I think that a lot of Phoenix and California thought the same thing and came out here. So I've been going down to Phoenix to get away from all of them.
Oh, how funny. How funny. That's true. When everyone was like, you can still go outdoors, you can still hike. That's what everybody did. They went up north.
Pandemic hit and this town became the busiest place in America. But it's okay. It's good that people are getting outdoors.
Of course. Yes. Actually, it probably helped in that respect. A lot of people who normally would not go outdoors probably did it more often than normal. So that's good.
Judging by the pasty kneecaps I saw, you are correct.
Okay, I'm not even going to admit that my kneecaps might be a little pasty. So,
hey, I make a judgment on pasty. Just stating the facts.
It's very telling, yes. Well, it is wonderful to see your face and be here with you today. We will be talking about so many things because a year has gone by at least since anything. So I have many, many questions, and you've kept yourself pretty busy over the past year. So I just want to start out because I've been asking all artists this. It's been a year now. We're at March 2021. March 2020 was when the world temporarily ended. How, you as an artist, how did this shutdown and continuing to have to, isolate and distance, how did that affect your creativity going through 2020?
Obviously it impacted music. I really tried from the onset to not go into any tailspin with it. I just decided I'm just going to stay positive and not get consumed in fear, So in terms of creativity, I had a real flourish right when it started. I wrote basically an album's worth, but then I didn't know what to do with it. And then, I don't know. I mean, not to jump ahead, but where the creativity really went was into this new product I'm doing. I'm not trying to pitch it by any means, but
no. I want to talk about it. We'll get there.
Totally. After over 12 years of, I went for it with music as much as, I could imagine doing it. I 8 albums and, toured the country so often. And it was nice to all of a sudden have this excuse, like I don't have to keep chasing the music carrot. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting. I think for me, you're so often as an artist trying to maybe make it, considering these things that are like, this is what you do in the music industry. You need to produce this amount of material and all this, all these criteria. Mm. And after a while, you might start to lose an identity of what am I? Am I an artist or am I a promoter? And one of the things that the pandemic really did for me was it was like, it answered the question. I know that I am an artist and I always will be. And even if there's not something that, even if we're not promoting as heavily right now. And I saw artists put out albums and, I no comment on them, but to me, I felt like last year felt a little tone deaf. We had the pandemic and all these considerations and all these deaths. And then you had, George Floyd and all the civil unrest. And it felt like, boy, if you're going to be if I'm going to be going on social media, like sounding the trumpets, it really better be a message.
Right.
So for me, what that parlayed into was that felt like such pressure. And that was when I did that Neil Young stream. I was like, I don't know what I have to say right now, but I know Neil Young had a lot of good stuff to say. So I, spent a couple months learning Neil Young songs.
Right.
I don't know, I feel like the creativity is flourishing, but I feel like it's come out of this pigeonhole that I always felt like creativity for me had to look like Decker. And, kind of coming to this greater awareness of like, what is art? And art is like trying to capture the great source, like trying to just have you think of like, why did Michelangelo make statues? We're trying to like capture the unspeakable beauty of creation. And to me, like, there's this greater awareness that life is art. Everything we do is this opportunity to inspire. So that's a conversation with the checkout people at the grocery store and being present with them, or, how are we interacting in our relationships? How are we interacting with our inner environment? Yeah. So that we can better shine outward. So to me, it was like, I guess the pandemic revealed to me that art doesn't have to be what is some tangible item I'm creating, but it's really how am I living and trying to express my own awe and wonder and fragility and fear and hope.
No, I get it.
Long answer.
No, but that's a wonderful answer, and I connect to a lot of that because I my creativity is in producing radio and producing my shows, and to be able to step back. I mean, radio actually became a little more important over the pandemic because there was an element to music that was gone for a while. And, but it did force me too, as an artist in that respect, to step back and say, how can I use these tools that I've been using to not only help myself through all of this, but to help others in the same way. And it's everything from helping artists, local artists who are still producing music, to just not let anybody forget about them when they rely so heavily on live shows. And then it was during the summer when we had, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all of the Black Lives Matter protests. It was like, how do I use this to help people? And that really is what helped me get through it, to just throw my own little. So I understand, and it is about connecting, and I realize I found ways that I want to continue to try and be more aware of connecting, because I've been, just removed from it for so long that it's making me want to be more aware of how I connect with people too, which I think is very important. And I think a lot of people have come to those kinds of realizations over the past year. So
I think you did a fantastic job. I know from reading your posts that you had some tougher times, and being away from people really was painful for you.
Yeah.
But I feel like you what everyone had to do who kind of rose above it, which was to acknowledge it and pivot and do something new, and to answer what the reality was. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. And I mean, it was really more of I kept thinking to myself that if I'm feeling this, I am not the only one feeling these things. So how can I make it good for and help everybody else through it as well? Because that's what's going to help me. So yeah. So, okay, we got this conversation off to a deep start.
That's the only way I know how to go.
I know. You definitely go there. So another thing that you have been doing over the past year is you definitely went and pivoted, if we want to stick to the term, from music, and you were involved in the creation of Sedona Spirit Water. So tell us about that.
I made a company called Agua de Sedona, or Sedona Spirit Water. It's kind of pivoted into, I'm calling it Agua de Sedona. Sedona Spirit Water and Agua de Sedona, it started with a fragrance. I had gotten a loan for my music, one of those business loans from the government. And I thought oh, hold on. Quinn Murphy just called in. I had to decline the call.
Oh, sorry, Quinn. He'll get back to you.
Yeah, I'll call him later. I felt like I'd have to be crazy to put this kind of money into Decker with how unknown the whole thing was. It was like in June. Mm-hmm. So I really, not to sound too woo, I just kind of sat with it and prayed and meditated. What can I do? And I had a few different ideas for businesses that I felt like could be pandemic proof. And, ultimately I was led to make this fragrance. It's all natural, small batch, unisex, eau de toilette.
So fancy.
And yeah, what I've learned is that has to do with the amount of oils in a fragrance. So if it's a certain amount, it's a eau de cologne, a certain amount, it's a eau de parfum. So, I didn't want to call it an eau de toilette, but that is what I made. So, but my most recent one is for her blend, and it's a eau de parfum because there's more oils in it. Oh. It's done really well. I'm just blown away. I think a lot of the work I've done in music with just kind of marketing and putting together, what does it take to make an album, really expedited the process. I had the idea like July 1st and I launched by November 2nd. As of now, early March, I'm in nearly 40 retailers across the Southwest, into San Diego, all over Tucson, Flagstaff, Prescott, Phoenix. And the response has been incredible. And, I really made it as something, again, not to be so, I have on healing frequencies and I pray into it and say mantras. And, I really think of it as a piece to kind of anoint and kind of be able to shift into present moment. The power of scent is right there with the power of music.
I agree completely. Scents are very, very important to me. And on that, you also have been collaborating a little bit over the months with Strawberry Hedgehog down here in Phoenix. So that's wonderful too.
I love Strawberry Hedgehog. Maddie and Tracy are very dear friends, as you know, and are as well. Yeah, when I launched, I definitely was trying to do some creative stuff, and I was grateful and honored that she was willing to make a soap out of my blend, and we both sold out. Awesome. And I've got one bar left. I'm waiting to use.
That's amazing. That's so wonderful. So yeah, that's great. And I have a bottle myself, thanks to my friend Brandy, gifted me a bottle. But I'm also going to get my hands on the female scent because I do love to smell things. So
I'm happy to get you one. I'm down there a lot. I can make a drop in your mailbox.
You're a sweetheart. You're a sweetheart. Well, let's get back to music here. So at the time this airs, tomorrow will be Thursday is when the new single is released to the wild, and it is called In Outer Space and DNA. And we've already spun it a couple times here on KWSS. And I was saying before we started recording that for me, I got some older Decker, not age older Decker, but older from your beginnings. Those are the vibes I got in the song. So tell me about the single and how it came to be.
Well, thank you. Thank you for spinning it, and thank you for listening. And it was one of the songs I wrote, and it was definitely that batch of songs was all about really feeling like I needed to, watching the panic in some people. I felt like it's really critical that we get centered as we approach chaos. If we're going to get wrapped up in narratives, whatever they are. I mean, you know, we've got to have composure. I mean, people who were in concentration camps had to have composure, you know,
True.
people were in wars, or, you know, and I felt like here we are in this critical time. And I just like, you know, what I really wanted to communicate was like, you know, is yes, it's scary, but we've got to sometimes be able to take a step back at a bigger picture, you know. So to me, kind of the bigger picture there in outer space and DNA is about, I've always been really fascinated by the idea, like if you look at a microscopic picture of the human cell, that is almost identical to when you look at the deepest pictures of the cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, such as to say the micro of our existence is composed in the same way of the macro that we can't even comprehend. So, you know, there is this grand perfection to everything. And I think it's really important to remember that that grand perfection is there in times when things seem chaotic and frightening.
Yeah. And not
So that's what the
seeing,
song's about.
and not seeing an end in sight either. You know, for a lot of months, it was just like, what's happening, and not even people who were trying to guide us even knew. And, you know, a lot of people have a hard time with being in the moment and doing things a day at a time. And that's kind of where we were for many, many months. And yeah, so I like the connection and knowing that. I like that. I can't even think of the movie now, but there was a movie that actually played to that, about how outer space, and you look at a cell, and there's that, you know, it's the same, and we are all one part of the universe. I can't think of the name, but I'll have to like
Well,
investigate
if you
that later.
remember, message it.
Yeah, I saw it
I'd
years
love to see
ago.
it.
I'll have to. It's right there. It's right there. Probably as soon as I like stop the interview, I'll remember. Right. But
Was it Basic Instinct?
no,
I just kidding.
no, that's kind of a different. That goes in an entirely different direction.
I never saw it.
Oh my goodness. So yes, so the single is wonderful, and those of you listening on KWSS right now, when we wrap up the interview, you will get another chance to hear the single before it's released on Thursday. Yeah, and it'll be available on all your streaming platforms and everywhere. And
Please follow Decker on Spotify. Yeah, it's, you know, it's laughable, but it is real how important these algorithms are at this point. And I've tried to get more accustomed, you know, in the old days, we're always having to say, buy the record or buy a ticket. You know, we're not even asking for money anymore. Just click a thing, please.
Stream me, please stream me.
Have to listen.
Oh my goodness. Well, regardless of that, you'll always have us. So don't worry about that.
I'm a rich man.
Oh my goodness. So, are you planning any kind of live stream or any way to celebrate the release? Oh, I think we overlapped there. Did you hear my
shower on Thursday? Are we there?
Hang on. You're talking, but you're not moving. There we go. There you are. Okay.
It'll all come back. I'm
right.
going to stream my shower to celebrate on Thursday. It gets a good natural reverb and play some songs. Yeah, I've been pretty steadily streaming the most of the second half of last year, and just kind of wanted a little break from, you know, I was putting a lot of work into them. They're like productions, and, you know, I feel good about just, you know, sitting in my shower and playing some songs. Sure. So we'll connect for that on tomorrow.
No, it'll be interesting to see if you actually take a shower while you're performing.
I'll be clothed. I'll be clothed.
Oh my goodness. So Brandon, tell me what your hopes are as we now can see somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel as we move through 2021. What are your hopes as we move through this year?
You know, I have felt this way since week 2, and I stand by it even more now. I don't want to go back to normal. Whatever normal was did not work. I think we, especially in America, or a society that was tired, overworked, caught up in all these narratives of what it is to live, and then that was all just demolished. And what I hope to see, I mean, obviously I want to see people who want to be vaccinated so they can feel comfortable. The people that are high risk do that. But what I want to see is us all continue to question the ways that we use our time. And I don't want to spend time on, I remember thinking early on, if the world's going to end, I want to spend it really living this moment as truly and deeply as possible. And I hope we all continue doing that. Obviously, I want to see music open back up. I can't wait to play a sweaty show in a club that, is too loud and too crowded, and hugging people and doing shots.
Right? I'm with you.
I'd like to, the biggest thing I'd like to see is less polarization. I think it is really on each of us as individuals to stop with the us and them. It's never been more obvious to me, whether it's about masks or presidents or, in as much as we're right and they're wrong, we're all screwed and divided. I'd love to see us all be able to begin holding a better space for one another that is more patient and kind, and less divisive. I hope that happens. I don't have a tremendous amount of faith in that, but I'll do my part.
I know humans can be very disappointing, can't they?
Yeah, we're so human.
I know, but that's beautifully spoken, and I hope those are some of my hopes too, for sure. So, Decker, the new single Thursday, it is called "In Outer Space and DNA." It will be available everywhere, and you will be able to hear it on KWSS, as you're going to hear right now. And thank you so much for being with me, and it's been great to see your face.
Thank you, Dani. It's great to see those red glasses, and I appreciate you and your support always. The ultimate band mom.
That is me. I can't wait to this band mom can't wait to hug you and do some shots with you.
All right. Well, go get your vaccination.